Hi, welcome to the Himmelfarb Library Scholarly Communication video series. My name is Joe McGraw. I'm the Serials Librarian here at Himmelfarb, and today I'm going to give you an introduction to Academic BlueSky, why you might want to use it, and a short introduction on how to get started. First, what is BlueSky? It is a microblogging social media platform that looks and feels a lot like Twitter. If you have ever used Twitter before or seen it, you'll feel quite at home at BlueSky. It is a competitor to Twitter/X. It was co-founded by one of the original founders of Twitter. And it is growing very quickly, especially since fall 2024. While I make this video in March 2025, it has more than 30 million users, which is more than a 10 times increase since September 2024. Academic BlueSky is the homegrown name for the community of researchers and those in higher education that are using BlueSky. It is a very well-developed community because academics were early adopters to BlueSky. When BlueSky was still invitation only, academics got a lot of the invitation, so they got a little bit of a head start. There are general academic groups for anyone in higher education. There are medical specific groups and of course subfield specific groups. Later in the video, I will show you how to find those. It is a great place to share your research and find new research, to keep up with news in your field and from professional organizations. It's also a great place to find calls for papers, conferences, webinars, and other professional development type of news, as well as job listings. There are many benefits to being on BlueSky as compared to Twitter. First, feeds are less algorithmically driven. Respondents to polls report that the community just feels much nicer and more collegial and focused on the research rather than more controversial posts. In particular, this benefits early career and less established scholars who have a better chance of their research being seen. Have also been studies from Altmetrics in particular that there are higher levels of engagement with research on BlueSky. So even accounts that have less followers have similar levels of engagement compared to engagement on Twitter. Also, this fall, Altmetrics did start tracking engagement. So if you are in a program where you can track your Altmetrics and get credit for it, BlueSky is a good place to be for that. Now I'm going to move into how to get started on BlueSky. I'm going to talk about very quickly its sign-up process. I'm going to talk about the two default feeds, which are the Discover and the Following feeds. I'm going to show how to find other feeds, and I'm going to talk at the end about starter packs. First, if you are familiar with social media, you shouldn't have any problem creating an account on BlueSky. It's quite easy: email, password, and your birthday. It will give you an opportunity to add a profile picture. You can skip this step, but if you plan on being active on BlueSky, it's probably good to have a profile picture to make yourself more memorable. It then gives you a way to choose your interests, and that gives you a little bit of a head start in your Discover feed. After you sign up, this is the default look. If anybody who has used Twitter before will definitely recognize this. I have put circles on the screen for how to move between your feeds. Across the top, you'll see Discover and Following. The Following feed is, as it sounds, all of the different accounts that you follow in reverse chronological order. By default, you're only following BlueSky, so that is why you see the BlueSky ads. Next to following is the Discover feed. The Discover feed is algorithmically driven, although it is not as powerful of an algorithm as Twitter. So your Discover feed will be populated with accounts that match the interests that you gave them, as well as accounts that you follow and accounts that people that you follow also follow. When you first get started, I would suggest finding some accounts to follow. Here in the top right, you can click the blue button and it will pop up a box that looks like this. Just as an example search, I searched George Washington University to find users that have GW in their profile, and you can use the little plus button to follow them. If you don't want to search for followers specifically, or you don't have anyone special you want to follow, I think the best tool for populating your BlueSky is to use the feeds function, which I've circled over here on the left. After you click on that, you get a list of your feeds and a way to search for new ones. I suggest MedSky as a great feed to start. It will have each one will have a little description of what happens on the feed and how to get your post to show up on the feed. So for MedSky, you add the words MedSky or the word MedTwitter to your post to have it populate onto the MedSky feed. And after you join MedSky, MedSky will then show up on the list of feeds next to Discover and Following. You see here a pinned post by the creator of the MedSky feed with some rules. Some feeds will have this kind of pinned post and some won't. There are, of course, many feeds. This is just a very short list. There's Academic Sky, which is for general higher education, EduSky for teaching and pedagogy, and many subject-specific feeds. If you don't see your subject field on this list, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You should try the search function on the feeds and see if you can find one that fits what you're looking for. Lastly, I'm going to talk just a little bit about starter packs. Starter packs are lists made by other users of accounts to follow. You will often see other users link to starter packs that they've created or starter packs that they have found useful. But I in particular use this third-party searchable directory called BlueSkyDirectory.com to search for starter packs. This screen here is from that third-party directory, and it has a easy-to-use search feature to search starter packs. Compared to other hobbies like, say, sports or movies, I've found that medical research does not have quite as many starter packs and tends to focus on feeds as a way to find each other. However, that might change over time, or you just might prefer the starter pack experience. So it's definitely something to check out. And that is it for me. Here is a list of my citations, and I suspect these will also be in the YouTube description. Thank you, and have a great day.